Okay, have another game here to look at. Start from the beginning. I'm actually playing white in this game. It's already highlighted the positions that I think are where I went wrong. And just in case this is the first video you're watching, this is my analysis of a game that is actually on my channel. What I try to do is give the comments or the thought process that I went through when I was actually playing the game, and then go through the analysis of the game with the help of the computer. If you've watched my other videos, you know that I go through the game backwards, trying to identify the important positions where a correct decision needed to be made, and of course I made the wrong decision. So I've already done that, so we can actually go through the game forwards. Let's look at what we have here. Again, this is Rue Lopez, a very popular opening. And if you're thinking about competition, what you want to do is go through your opening books on this opening, because you will see it in competition. I usually play, or I hope to play, the main line. This is a variation of the main line, and you have to become familiar with the variations because your opponent is not always going to play the main line. And the C3 is a move that I would have considered, but once I played other games with the same opening, I actually looked it up and went through the main line of the opening given this variation. I saw that C3 is the appropriate move, but also it's a move that I actually like. So I felt comfortable with it, so in this game I actually played it. And it's important not to memorize the different opening variations because you can't memorize them all, but to understand them. And once you understand one variation, it will lead you to the correct move in other variations. Very important, I cannot emphasize it enough, to put your king into his castle as soon as possible and keep the castle solid, because that's the safest place for your king. And I make that comment mainly for beginners. Intermediate players already know that. And advanced players will actually violate that rule because they're getting compensation somewhere else. So it's not always a bad move, but if you're a beginner, it's the best thing to do. These are all opening moves, and because I've seen the opening before, I'm making these moves very quickly. That's to prevent the pin. Okay, now we're getting away from the variations that I've looked at, and I'm flying on my own. And right here is where I made a, not really mistake, but something that happens. This is a 3-minute game, so you don't have a whole lot of time, but even happens when at least I have longer time controls. I'll get to a position where I just can't decide what to do. All moves look good or all moves look bad. You have to make a decision, and it's very important to manage your time. All competitive games are played with a time control. Now, not a 3-minute time control unless you're a street hustler, which to each his own. But this next move took me 99 seconds to make in a 3-minute game. Now, of course, because of the delay, I've been able to build up time, but it should not have taken that long. The only moves that you really have to consider are pawn takes pawn, possibly bishop take knight, possibly bishop take knight. And on the out fringes, if you think you might be able to come up with something brilliant, you might even want to consider pawn to e5. But those are the moves worth considering. And you might just want to do something out of the ordinary, thinking that pawn takes pawn might give you a significant advantage in development, but I don't think so. It should not. The short story is it should not have taken me a minute and a half to decide to make my next move, especially when my next move was simply C takes D4, which I could have made in 2 seconds. So it was poor time management with that move. Bishop to F4 was a great move. Bishop to H4 probably would have been better, but I still have a solid position at this point. Now right here is where I started to go wrong at. Trying to see how long it took me to make this move. It's like 18 seconds, which means I made it quickly. I probably made it too quickly. The things that should have been considered are whether knight takes knight or bishop takes knight should be done first. I got 2 pieces on this knight. He only has 1 defending. If I take with the knight, takes with the bishop, take with the queen, takes with the bishop. Not doing bad there. What I actually decided was bishop takes bishop. And the reason why this is a significant mistake, because after the only thing I considered when I played bishop takes bishop was queen takes bishop. Oh, I win a piece. Okay. Whenever you see you're going to be in a 1 position, look deeper because you're probably not going to be in a 1 position. I take bishop, he takes knight, of course, with the check. I take back with the queen, he takes back with the knight. What happens here is he's going to get a tempo on my queen. I probably should have just denied him the tempo and moved the queen first. Let's see what actually happened. The comment that I made here is bad move. Analyze alternative moves, giving your opponent the best possible selection. I didn't do that. I just gave him the bad move that I wanted him to play. I also wanted to make the comment that very often we do that because we've been playing weaker players, and weaker players tend to make weak moves. So if you're on a quest to become a better player, you have to play better players, and you have to start making solid moves, not just sitting back hoping your opponent does something stupid. Now he took with the knight so that he gained tempo on the queen, and I probably should have just moved the queen over to deny him that square. It's not what I did. I gave him the tempo on my queen. I'm moving over anyway. The reason why I wanted to deny him that tempo is if my queen's already there, he can't move that knight in. That would have been a much better move. Okay, here we're coming up on another weak move. Now you see what he's done. He's doubled up his bishop and his queen and rook. His bishop is on a nice diagonal. His knight is actually in a defensive position for his king. All he needs to do is get this rook into play. So what do? I help him get his rook in play. Now his rook is on open file, and not only is the file open, but he's pressing my pawn. So I have 1 pawn under attack. The queen and rook place my 2nd pawn under attack. And to solve that, what do? I defend my outside pawn. My telephone is going off, but I'm going to try to finish this. I'm almost done. If I had defended my center pawn, now the phone is way over on the other side of the room. If I had defended my center pawn, I could have given up the outside pawn, and not only he gets a pawn, but nobody's defending his rook, so I have the opportunity to attack both his rook and his pawn, which may give me it does give me the chance to win the pawn back. Actually, I think it do win the pawn back. So if you have a choice and you're under time restrictions, usually you'll defend the central pawn as opposed to a outside pawn that allows a weak piece. I think you get the idea. Going on from there, at this point I think my time ran out. We're playing a 3-minute game and I was playing against the computer at approximately 21 to 2200 strength, and this is the DGT that I was using. So I hope this has been helpful, and I don't think I'm recording. Oh, I was recording. Good.